Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books, and I've been covering Disney and Marvel pretty closely. I've been following Marvel since I was a kid, and I used to collect Daredevil and X-Men. I love those comics. They were actually very good in the 1980s. But this seems to be the end of the MCU, not just as we know it, but as a viable franchise. And I've seen a few different articles talking about it, and even financial publications talking about, like, has the MCU franchise kind of fallen apart? And the answer is, it really absolutely has. Now, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which should be a good Marvel movie, it should be something that is at least completely finished, is entertaining, not a traditional superhero movie, but because all the superhero movies and all the Marvel series seem to be goofy these days, it's not even going to be a unique Marvel project anymore. And so far, the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 box office tracking is not doing well. It's actually tracking to be another potential massive flop, similar to Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. This is kind of unbelievable that the franchise could be mismanaged so badly, to the point where they can't do a sequel, they can't do Guardians of the Galaxy, a movie that's done generally pretty well, have that make some money, do well, and have people excited about it. No, they can't do it anymore because they just let everything completely fall apart. Even just look, yes, there's this agenda that Disney executives have been pushing through all of their franchises, and that is bad. That is not something they should be doing. It definitely dramatically affects the quality, but it's as if they're deliberately trying to destroy the franchises and their company. And I know, and I've probably even said in videos before, I understand, like, as part of the agenda, you want to wipe away what was in the past. A great example is what they've done with Luke Skywalker and the original Star Wars franchise, is to just wipe away those characters and then start with new characters again. But at a basic level, like, Marvel was bringing in a lot of money for them. It's one thing for them to change up what they're doing, but still kind of make some money, like swap out some characters, show the themes they want to show, and mess with the franchises to get the kind of characters that they want to have featured, push their agenda. I understand that. But just the concept that Kevin Feige was hiring people who weren't experienced to direct these major films, and that they were hiring writers who never wrote a major film before to write Marvel films, it's really inexplicable. Especially even if what they were trying to do was to push an agenda. The way you would do that is you would hire really polished people that completely understand the craft, and they would go and they would insert their agenda, but utilize their skill. So you kind of like put a candy coating around the medicine. You could do that. Convey the themes you want to convey. You could race swap the characters you want to race swap, and still tell a good story and at least have it hold together. But it looks like the wheels are completely falling off the MCU. And here's this article from Cosmic Book News. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 box office tracking for potential massive flop. James Gunn's final Marvel movie is projected to open lower than Volume 2 and follows Quantumania bombing big time. The Guardians of the Galaxy 3 box office happens to be tracking low, potentially a massive flop for the next Marvel movie as part of Kevin Feige's Phase 5, which is already off to a rocky start following Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania's big bust. According to early estimates, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is tracking for a $130 million opening, which doesn't sound that bad, but it is less than Guardians of the Galaxy 2's $146 million opening back in 2017. The first movie, released in 2014, opened to $94.3 million. Additional estimates also offer the flick could open anywhere between $120 and $155 million, so you still have to wait and see how things play out. However, according to early projections, things could be worse. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 pre-sale numbers are awful. The early estimates are said to in part come from an initial pre-sales where Box Office Pro reports the Guardians of the Galaxy pre-sale numbers are actually lower than every Marvel movie released post-Avengers Endgame except for Black Widow and Shang-Chi. That's surprising, as that means Guardians of the Galaxy 3 pre-sale numbers are lower than Eternals, which opened to only $71 million, and lower than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which opened to $106 million. Those numbers would be a huge disaster for Kevin Feige, James Gunn, and for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. James Gunn is safe. He's in charge of DCU. He's been giving money, he's been given authority, he can kind of do whatever he wants. The Warner Bros. Discovery people are happy. Different story over at Marvel. Pre-release marketing is terrible. The site also adds that pre-release marketing is not generating the kind of social media imprint volume as any of the 2023 MCU releases, again, which is something pretty surprising and includes Quantumania, which bombed at the box office and misfired with fans. Deadline does happen to add its own box office report. Distribution sources specify that the campaign for Guardians of the Galaxy 3 hasn't really fired up yet to its full potential. Hence, there's nothing to worry about. Keep in mind that Hollywood Reporter and Deadline industry trade publications tend to cover for Disney. You will see them criticize Warner Bros. Discovery, but not so much Disney. Disney plays the game that they like. Why could Guardians of the Galaxy 3 bomb at the box office? If the early estimates hold true and Guardians of the Galaxy 3 bombs, why would it be bombing? Reason one, well, firstly, the second movie wasn't as well liked as the first movie. The first flick has a 92% Rotten Tomatoes score from both the critics and the fans, while the sequel is at 85%, 87% respectively. Over at IMDb, it's more of the same, with the first movie at 8.0 and the second at 7.6. James Gunn could be a problem, as audiences might not have forgotten that Gunn was fired from Disney and Marvel over his raunchy tweets from years ago. So if the conservative family crowd hasn't forgiven Gunn, that could be a huge loss. James Gunn's moving to DC could also be an issue for fans, especially Feige's Marvel zombie fans, who will just go and see anything that's an MCU. So some of them might bail on Guardians of the Galaxy 3 just to spite Gunn. Now, the whole premise of Marvel zombies, the idea is just people buying anything or supporting anything that's Marvel. There are always going to be fans of Marvel that will buy anything with the Marvel logo. Those are not 99% of the fans. It's a much smaller percentage, especially as people go and they're underwhelmed with the movie and like, who is going to go see Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania twice? Maybe you'll watch it in the theaters, and then if you're a big fan, you'll watch it again when it's on streaming, but you're not going to go and say, I've got to see this movie again and again and again. That's the thing that really makes a difference between a massive blockbuster and a movie that just does sort of okay. Another goofy Marvel movie might be a factor, as it seems audiences are done with all the goofy Marvel movies. They call out a lot in Cosmic Book News. Kevin Feige has gone too far and too goofy with the MCU. Ironically, it's Guardians of the Galaxy that kind of started that trend. With Thor: Love and Thunder, with Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, with She-Hulk. Goofy. It's like, enough already. It's insulting. It's not fun anymore. You know, She-Hulk was a popular kind of goofy-ish comic when it was out. But most Marvel comics took themselves seriously. They weren't all silly. It's not like they went through a phase where it's like, okay, let's do just silly versions of all of our characters and our stories. They didn't do that. Marvel has done that now. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania kicked off Phase 5 and introduced the MCU fans to the next Thanos-level villain with Jonathan Majors, and that's of course another issue as Kang the Conqueror, but a majority of the MCU fans rejected the flick as the script is terrible, the overall story is terrible, the CGI is terrible. It looks like it's completely unfinished, this movie, from the script to the CGI. They really shouldn't have done that to Ant-Man. They took the movie away from him. The movie was hardly about him. That's a big problem. And this is why, as Bob Iger was saying recently, they probably can't keep doing sequels of their character movies because, well, they're not really legitimate sequels. What about the Disney Plus shows? Are they a turnoff? Groot was really bad, and the holiday special was also nothing to write home about, and maybe people are less excited about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Do you think that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is going to be a flop? It doesn't look like it's tracking so well. At some point, look, it's good to see Disney do badly when they've abandoned the responsibility they had to produce good movies based on characters that people care about. Don't sell something to people and then all of a sudden take it away from them, either just to push an agenda, or I have to say, you know, people were messaging me a little bit on Twitter or talking with some people. I don't know if this is agenda driven or just negligence. It seems to be more and more negligence than it is agenda driven, because at least if it was agenda driven, they would be a little bit more crafty about it and not so incredibly sloppy. This is not easy to recover from. This is actually impossible for Marvel to recover from. Once you lose momentum, it's impossible to get the momentum back. It takes years to get the momentum back, and that's only after producing things that are really, really good. But it's just got no future to it. Jonathan Majors, who was supposed to be the big savior over at the MCU and planned out to do Kang Dynasty and appear as Kang everywhere, of course, he's in so much trouble because he got arrested. And his PR firm has dropped him. His manager has dropped him. His agent hasn't dropped him. An agent is similar to a manager. They do different functions. He still is represented by his agent, but his PR firm has dropped him and his management firm has dropped him. That is not a good sign. He's in serious trouble. Marvel does not look like it's in any good shape, but let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think Guardians of the Galaxy has a chance to make some money? Is it going to do better than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania? And take a quick look at the schedule over here. Whatever happens with Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is going to happen May 5th. So it's going to come out May 5th, 2023. We'll see how it opens. We'll see what people's comments are. And if it's the kind of movie that people want to see more than once. But after that, all Marvel has is the Marvels coming out November 10th. There's no way that movie can do well. There's nothing they've shown that has gotten people excited about the movie. Then after that, the next thing they have coming is Captain America: New World Order in May of 2024. So we're really looking at the end of the momentum and the excitement for the MCU. If for some reason Guardians of the Galaxy comes out, the entire world is set on fire by it, like Super Mario Brothers for Universal, then okay. You know, they've got some life to them, and maybe that'll even help lift the Marvels, and maybe they can do some more with their TV series to get people excited, but it's looking really, really disastrous over there. Definitely let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you going to go see Guardians of the Galaxy 3? Do you think Marvel is pretty much over? Really love to see what you think. Really appreciate your comments. Also, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.